Regional ESD Board of Directors on February 20th, 2026 at 3:30. We'll start off our meeting today with roll call by the board secretary.
Michelle Graham,
Here.
Becky Timchuk,
Here.
Doug Doherty,
Here.
Chris Riley,
Here.
Maureen Wolf,
Here.
Paul Jarrell,
Good afternoon here.
Dorian Russell.
Here.
And it appears that Ernest Stevens and Mira Cemental are absent.
All right, we'll put them as excused. I appreciate everyone being able to accommodate the schedule here on a Friday afternoon. So thank you so much for joining us for this special session. Board members, are there any revisions or additions to this afternoon's agenda? All right, very good. Are there any public comments this afternoon?
No, Chair Timchuk, there is not.
All right, with no public comments, we'll move on to our action item this afternoon. And to introduce us to the action item, I'll hand it over to Jordan.
What? Dan, did you want to?
Or Dan,
Okay.
whoever
right.
would like it. I'll gladly.
We didn't rehearse, so I apologize.
I'm just going by what it tells me on my agenda. How's that?
There you go. Well, thank you all for doing this special meeting. Our agents let me know that time is of the essence in real estate. And so I do appreciate pulling this meeting together rather than waiting for the next regular meeting. This is the same deal that we talked about at the executive session. And the terms of that deal are materially the same as what we discussed. The only slight revision is there's some very technical language about our representations of the condition of the property. Those now are narrower assurances, but name me personally. I wanted the assurances a little narrower because I'm not an expert on facilities. They wanted somebody named. So that is what our lawyers agreed to. That is really the only significant difference. And so in the executive summary, I've listed out what I believe are the high notes. It's a $4 million purchase price, 2.5% commission to Colliers, 2.5% commission to the buyer's agent, total of $200,000. So net proceeds would be $3.8 million, minus escrow fees, which I do not have an estimate for. Earnest money, the buyer will deposit $75,000, and within 5 days of me signing this agreement, the buyers have already signed the agreement. And so if the board approves my signing it, I will sign that this afternoon. Within 5 days, they'll deposit earnest money, $10,000 non-refundable after 60 days. The reason we ask for this provision is because of the time value of money. The property essentially comes off the market with the execution of this agreement. And so if we're going to take it off the market, we needed some assurance from the buyer that they were serious about it. And then an additional $10,000 becomes non-refundable after 120 days. The buyer has to secure financing within 30 days of that 120 days. So I just want to be clear about what that timeline looks like. The buyer essentially has up to 150 days to completely close this deal. It is possible that this deal will not go forward. I think we'll know for sure in the next 60 days. That's why we wanted to put that earnest money mark at 60 days. They do need to negotiate an agreement with the tenant that they would be purchasing this property on behalf of. That's the National Child Care Organization that I mentioned last week. And so this is kind of contingent on that deal occurring on the backside. That's the only real major risk to the deal happening. And then the other thing for the board to know is that if we decide to pull out of the deal during this buyer window, we do forfeit $35,000, up to $35,000. They would have to document the costs that they incurred in pursuing the deal. So it's not that we would just write them a check for $35,000, but up to $35,000 of the costs they incur doing their due diligence on the building, their engineering reports, architect assessments, things like that. We would have to refund if we decided to terminate the deal sometime during the next 60 days. And I think those are the highlights. And so I want to give space for questions.
All right. And I just want to make sure for the public record, we also have Director Stevens with us. So, board members, do you have any questions?
Director Stevens has his hand up.
Oh, there we go. Ernest?
Thank you, Chair. My question is for Jordan. Under what circumstances do you foresee us backing out of the deal?
On our side, I don't see any reason that we would. Before we brought this facility to the board several months ago to surplus the facility, we discussed whether there were any potential options. I feel, and I would ask Superintendent Goldman to weigh in, of course, if he feels differently. But we evaluated all of the programs that we currently offer and those that we see potentially on the horizon, and this facility is not a good fit for any of them. And so the concern that we have is that the building just sits vacant while we wait to see if there might be a use that comes up. The funds that we would generate through this sale will go into our local government investment pool and earn interest. Whether they will earn interest at a greater rate than the property might appreciate, I can't speculate to, but we do have issues of when buildings sit, they generally start to deteriorate and then, of course, become attractive for vandalism and different things like that. And so in the near term, midterm, and even long term, there's nothing that we can see on the management side that I think would cause us to want to retain the facility. So I don't see any reason on our side that we would terminate the deal unless something significant happened in the next 2 months or if the board directed us to back out of the deal.
Ernest, did that answer your question, or do you have a follow-up?
That does answer the question, but Jordan invited Dan to speak if he feels differently, and I was waiting to see if Dan had anything else to add.
For once, I have nothing to add.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
And this, I know you addressed this a little bit, Jordan, but usually, I thought usually when it's something like this where you're entering it with, all of us as board members can change, superintendent can change, you can change. So when we're entering an agreement like this, is it your name or just your position?
That's a great question. So I would be executing the agreement on behalf of the board. So the signature that I'll put at the bottom of the agreement does bind the entire agency, even if we have board turnover or staff turnover. That's the kind of really extreme situation where a board could direct staff to back out of the deal. The provision that's in the contract is my name specifically, and it's just an attestation that at the time of sale, I wasn't aware of any material defects that we didn't disclose. And
Okay.
that's really all it is. But that one is me personally making an attestation, and I'm comfortable with that. Our lawyer really narrowed the language on that.
Okay. Because I would just want somewhere down the road, if you weren't in that position or something that we as an organization, it's the Northwest Regional ESD that's entering into this agreement, and we just
Yes.
happen to be the representatives on the board at this time. So,
Correct.
Any other questions? Paul, did I see your hand, or were you just waving flies away?
Oh yeah, no, nothing for me.
Okay. All right. Well, if there isn't any other questions, do I have a motion? Does anybody see the motion? Maureen?
Yes, I move to approve the purchase and sale agreement with BPG Investments LLC for $4 million under the terms presented, authorizing the superintendent or designee to execute the agreement and proceed with closing.
I'll second.
All right, it's been properly moved by Director Wolf and seconded by Director Riley that we approve the purchase and sale agreement with PBG Investments LLC for $4 million under the terms presented, authorizing the superintendent or designee to execute the agreement and proceed with closing. Is there?
Uh, Chair,
Yes.
just one thing to add. I think in reading of the motion, I think we said BPG Investments LLC, but it's actually BPG Investments V LLC.
Okay, I see that. Okay. So,
Sorry, I just wanted to call it
yep,
out.
I appreciate that. So, with agreement by the board, are we good with that amended with investments V or 5 or whatever that stands for there, LLC? All right, is everyone good with that motion? Okay, been seconded. All right. Thank you for with that correction because we want to make sure it's right on the public record. Is there any discussion to the motion? All right, seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Any other order of business?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, with none, I will look forward to seeing all of you on March 11th at the Northwest Regional ESD office for our next general board meeting. And so with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you
Awesome.
for your time.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you, board.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, everybody.